Welcome to another edition of Genius Loan Officer. We have an amazing guest that's going to help you with your sales conversation. So if you are sometimes wondering, hey, what do I say next? How do I follow through? How do I make a connection? We're going to go through those today with none other than Linda Clemens. Linda, happy to have you on the show.
Thank you, Adam, so much for inviting me. I'm excited because anytime we hear the word success, I know that success is attracted to speed. And man, when you are moving in that positive direction, everything is following right after you. So I'm excited to be able to be here, to be able to share some information. If your viewers and your listening audience walks away with 1, 2, and maybe the triple crown, 3 pieces of advice or strategy, then my work is done. My work is done.
Yes, I am sure they will. So before I introduce, or let Linda introduce herself, I want to tell a cool story about hers. We were at this great mastermind with a high level, really genius out there that we had the pleasure of learning some good strategies from. And we're sitting there in this group, and there's a mention of a gentleman, which hopefully you all know who this is. You don't, Les Brown. You're hungry. Or, he's just an international, just amazing speaker that will just charge you up. If you listen to Les Brown doing his speech and you don't get fired up, I mean, I don't know, you have to check your pulse, because the guy is amazing. And the speaker there was like, hey, said something about Les Brown. And Linda, I'll let you tell the story.
Well, basically, the host of the mastermind we both were attending apparently was a fan of Les Brown's, and there was a story that he was trying to recall or remember the full story that Les Brown shared when he tells his story about how he got started. And I said, well, do you remember the story? Any parts of it? What about the story? I said, well, let's just call him up and see what the story is about. And so I was able to call Les Brown, the dynamic role motivator speaker, to call him on the phone and say, hey, we have a few fans here. Do you mind sharing the story? And Les, of course, did not just want to share the story. He wanted to be able to pour more diamonds and nuggets into the group. And so that's what happens. Sometimes, your relationships are part of your network, if you will, and your network, if you will. So it was good to be able to do that at just a drop of a hat, to have him on speed dial, if you will. So it was a fun experience, hopefully for you, Adam, as well as the host.
Oh yeah, I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. Obviously, as we talk about authority and charisma and all that, obviously, Linda, you got it, and that you further had that with the conversation and bringing in, somebody that in proximity that and Les, to his credit, he gave a whole bunch of nuggets. He didn't just say, okay, here it is, here's a story, and see you later. He brought the heat. And the story he said, by the way, was awesome, because it was about the dog that he was running away from, and he was scared to death of this dog. And then one day it caught up to him, and he realized it had no teeth. Had no teeth. Couldn't even do anything. And that's what fear is, right? A lot of times we think that all this fear, it's got all this teeth, and it's gonna chew us up and spit us out, and then we realize it ain't got no teeth, and it doesn't have any power over us. Like I talked about, don't let the fear be the bully, all those things. And I tell you what, that was a cool experience. And I genuinely appreciate you bringing that to us. And Linda, the reason why Linda's on here is not just because we connected at the event, and you could tell she has such a high sales acumen. And I wanted to bring her here to share some great nuggets, and you to get as much out of this as you can. So again, Linda, I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit further and we'll go into it. But y'all need to listen up. Linda is an amazing person and guest on the show.
Thank you, Adam. So just to tell a little bit about myself, I've got 40 years, 4 decades in sales and nonverbal communication, non-behavioral specialist, behavior specialist, nonverbal communication, but in sales, particularly because with 4 decades in sales, my career started off, I mean, as a youngster, I was the #1 candy seller in my school. So I started early, right? And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, she's got over 40 years. She doesn't look a day over 21. Thank you. I'll take that compliment that you were thinking about right now. So can you imagine being in commission sales all of your life? And one particular industry was the resort industry, timeshare industry. And for those of you that are in real estate, you're familiar with the timeshare industry. And some of you may be thinking, oh, one of those things where you might have been on a presentation before. But let me tell you the difference. And I tell folks all the time, because I've got a lot of friends who are in real estate, who are brokers, been in the industry for years. And I say to them all the time, and as we have this conversation, I said, imagine you going on a presentation that's 90 minutes and someone can sell you, partnership with you to purchase a vacation property, maybe not even full, not 365 days of the year. That's called whole ownership. Even if it's a fractional part of the year for 150 to perhaps 200, in many cases, $300,000. And in the low end, of course, many of you thought, well, I could buy a timeshare my 1 week out of the year for $15, $20, or $30,000. Well, the point is, if someone can do it in 90 minutes, Adam, and I say this all the time to my broker friends, why does it take you 2, 3, 4, 5 days or longer to sell the home? Now we're in a seller's market. Man, homes are going crazy just like this. But I want you to think about this. 90 minutes. The person walks in. Their only mission, and for those of you that have been on a timeshare presentation before, I'm watching you. The only goal, Adam, and was to get the free gift. Well, the gift was part of our marketing. It's called bride marketing. And having 15 years in radio, Adam, I know that people love free things. In radio, we give away t-shirts, give away tickets. We know that most people love free things. So that was the enticer to get you to come in. Now, we know that if you bought into the enticer of a free weekend getaway to Lost Wages, or a free weekend getaway to Florida, or a weekend trip, and maybe a dinner might have been attached to it, and maybe some other goodies, the question we would always ask, what motivated you to come in? And most people will say, the dinner was nice that you all offered, but we've been thinking about doing a little getaway. That told us that there was interest in vacationing. That's what we do. So to be able to sit there and to last in the industry, as long as I have been in the industry, now, not only was I a top sales producer, a top sales trainer, one of the top in the industry, in the world, in my industry. Not only that, because I just didn't sell someone, it was a partnership where they sold themselves. You've heard the old adage, people don't like to be sold to, they want to be a part of it. So when you are having a conversation with your client and they see themselves in the picture, they see themselves using your product or service, and they feel at that moment, now watch this. And those of you who are taking notes, I know you are, because if you're on Adam's show, the Success Show, I know you're taking notes. I know you may be thinking, oh, Linda, I've got a good memory. I have one too, but it's just short. You better take notes, all right? So if you are taking notes, I want you to write this down. Write this down. Here's the deal. If they can see it in their mind, they can have it in their hand. Watch this. I'm going to say it again. If they can see it, so I can imagine myself vacation. I can imagine myself successful sales producer. I can imagine myself, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between falsehood or reality. You'll begin to act upon that. Then your movements and your actions, everything will begin to act upon that. So it's critical to see it in your mind and have it in your hand. And before I close on that note, and Adam, in case you have another question for me, is always remember this: when someone has a partnership and you ask them, what is it that you like to see for yourself? How do you want this conversation to end? Where do you want it to go? What is the purpose? What is your desire for this conversation and the outcome? Here is the thing: if you can give people what they need and what they want and what they desire the most, price is not an issue especially if they're emotionally attached to them. And that's what I did in the resort industry. I still see, Adam, people to this day that I have sold well over 20, 30 years ago. They'll come up to me and says, are you the lady that was on the radio, that did radio? You sold my family and I a timeshare. And I'll be on a plane when this is happening. I said, apparently it must be working well because you're headed to vacation, right? Yes, we passed it down to our kids. We've done this. So by being in that kind of industry, where people are not walking in and seeking your product. See, it's one thing if I go to a car lot, I'm looking to buy a car. It's one thing if I reach out to someone in real estate, a realtor, my broker, I'm looking for a house. If I'm buying a computer, I'm looking for that. But people who are going on those presentations quite often are just going to get the enticement, the gift, and let's see what they got. That's a different kind of sale. And it's a strategy that is very critical for someone who had the conversation, no, 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 no. And they get in and says, you know what? This can add value to our lives. So that's my story, Adam, and I'm sticking to it.
I love it. I love it because all that stuff applies. There's, for example, like, let's see that the Genius Realtor playbook.
Yes.
Genius Realtor playbook I made for also, obviously being a loan officer and a loan officer coach is that, I created these for our loan officers, right? To be able to hand these to real estate agents, put their own cover on there. And it's the same thing. You're going there with a nice gift. You're trying to go in there and really you're selling a relationship. You're not selling anything other than a relationship. And the fact is, if they can see their future with you, right? You talk about seeing the future better off with you than without you, and all the things that come with that, and all these, and so loan officers struggle, right? This is what the struggle is, Linda. And so I let you talk to this because go down this kind of same path is, oh my gosh, like I have to have all these things, right? So there's all these companies out there that you can buy leads from, right? You can do all these things, you can get all these tricks. And let me go to the real estate agent and go, oh, okay, I got this deal for you. Which loan officers cannot get as many end clients as a real estate agent because everyone wants a house, ain't nobody want a mortgage, right? So it's a little bit, right? So loan officers struggle with this is that, what value do I bring to this relationship to a real estate agent that's going to send me deals? And oh my gosh, they have a loan officer already. I've got to bring them all these things. But what it sounds like to me is you got to bring yourself and sell this relationship and have these conversations that move them in such a way that you are the value. I like if you can speak.
Absolutely, Adam. And they have to remember, the loan officers, you are where the money resides, where the money resides. You're where the money resides, where the money resides. That's who you are. Now, here's the thing. If you are bringing the highest level of value to that realtor, now check this out, that every time they bring the deal to you and their people get financed over and over and over again, you just created an independent contractor without giving them a 1099, because they will be your advocate. They will be your advocate, particularly if they're brokers. They will be your advocate in that office, and you will be the first at the top of their mind when you are constantly bringing value. See, you have to, everyone write this down. This is very important. You must give before you get. You must give before you get. So if I am constantly adding value to different realtors who I'm trying to court, if you will, adding that kind of value, then I'm establishing the law of recency and primacy. I'm going to be the first person that's on their mind and the last person that's on their mind. And if you are the one who can create what I call a miracle out of a mess, if you could create a miracle out of a mess where maybe they may have one of their toughest deals or whatever, and you can make that happen, guess who I'm going to on my sweet deals? Because you can turn water into wine in their eyes. How is that? You've got to add the value first. The other thing, please don't reach out to me when you want something. Don't do that. I want you to establish the 24 karat gold touch. What does that mean, Linda? You want to figure out the way to be able to stay in contact or connect with the realtor, your other clients, or other people in your network at least 24 times a year. That's nothing but twice a month. Oh, here's an email. Here's an article that may be relevant to your industry. Here's something that I thought you would like to know, all the time, so that you're at the top of their mind. That's critical, and add value. So when they're adding, when you do that deal and you do the one deal, do you send a thank you card? Just asking. Do you send a thank you gift? Do you send something to encourage the habit over and over again? Because guess what? If you're doing what your competitors are not doing, then you are standing out and not just blending in. You want to be able to stand out. If you want to have their wallet share, write this down. You see, the teaching in me comes out. If you want to have their wallet share, guess where you have to go first? You first have to get their mind share and then get their heart share. Because sales is 93% emotion. You justify it 7% with logic. And the 12-inch rule is this. There's 12 inches from the heart to the head and the heart to the wallet. Guess which one's closest to the wallet? The heart. So you better get in there. You better get in there and add the highest value possible. So you did one deal, one didn't work out. Then you work harder the second time. Because otherwise, they may have someone that they're already working with. But here's what I want to know. I want to know who you're working with. What do you love about that loan originator? What do you love about that? What do you love about that individual? If there was something that you could improve or enhance in the industry and what we do. You notice what I said. Listen very carefully now, Adam. I didn't say, is there something perhaps that you wish Adam would do that he's not doing? Or is there something he can improve on? No, I didn't call out your person's name, because if I called out your person's name and I indicate that there's a flaw or is there something that needs to be improvement, now guess what I just did? I just challenged your judgment and your decision. So I did this. What do you think there's something maybe in the end that we in our industry could improve on? Wow, because they're saying that, they're not just saying it for the industry, they're also saying it for their loan originator, who they have, their loan officer that they've got now. They're saying that, but they're not going to want to mention the name. Wow. So you just got some great data, and say, look, I don't expect you to divorce or leave that situation, but I would love for the opportunity for you to give me a chance to show you what I can do. And if it works, man, we can work in this thing together. And if it doesn't, I thank you and honor you for the opportunity. That's what you have to do. Wow. And if it's the wrong person, you don't say it. You allow me to say it. Does that make sense, Adam?
Oh, I love it. It's like you took my notes on a couple of those things. Like, so you said it better than I can, because you're freaking amazing, right? But listen, like, I'm just a good old country boy, you know, right?
I love a good old country boy. That's fine.
You know, but I tell you, like, I love what you said, because it's exactly the same things I say with the whole, when you call someone, you ask them what they like about that person, right? And so that's the big hurdle that loan officers, I love you hit that point, because loan officers have that hurdle. I call this realtor and they have someone, right? I have a podcast on, like, who cares, right? Who cares they got somebody else, because there's their opportunity to serve. And the fact is, when you're calling them and you're saying, oh, what do you like about that person? Like, why do you like about your lender? That's good. Like, don't go, oh, what you not like about Bob, the lender, right? And love where you went there, because it's exactly what I say. If you could change anything in the industry, what could you change? Because that opens up so many more conversations that you can have. And they're like, well, you know what? I don't like that. I don't like that the student loans are counted as 1% everywhere. And like, wait a second, Linda, that's not actually true. Like, there's some ways around that. Have you ever seen this situation? Do you know that you can do a conventional loan this? Guess what? They don't know that. They've never heard that. There's opportunity there. There may be something that they're saying industry-wise that it's really just their loan officer. And now we can identify that. And I'm sorry about this dog barking in the back here. So I guess she likes what's been said. But you said very, very great key points there, because you went straight to, what do you like? That's great. Let them talk about that. people are scared to death of asking that question because, oh my gosh, if they say Linda's a great loan officer, then what am I? Who am I? And then they start just regressing at that point, right? And
Absolutely.
so it's okay to say that. And again, well, what do you not like about Linda? It's like, no. That's what if you could change anything in the industry, what would you change?
I did, right.
I'm hammering that point home because you did such a good job, and I want people to write that down when you have that conversation, because you can change it, and then you're not fearful of making that call when somebody's like, yeah, I got a lender. You know what to say.
Wow. And let me tell you, I'm going to take it to another level. If someone said, well, yeah, Adam is a great loan officer, and I'm going to say, yes, he is. He's probably one of the best because he got you. So let me ask you, you see what I just did? Because he got you as a client. So let me ask you this. What do you think, what else could we do in our industry to improve that customer and relationship? What do you think we need to do? Then you get a list of things. I like to listen. I got to listen. This is great. And I'm quite sure that it's probably going to be addressed with your current loan officer. But let me ask you this. Are you aware? Okay, I didn't say was Adam. Do you know if Adam knows this? Are you aware that regarding the student loan, are you aware of this? And I give them just a little bit that makes them like, it's like, I gotta have more. How many of you ever been to, well, I like going to Costco, and some of you may go to Sam's Club. So whatever, have you ever been to those places, Adam? And I know you have, Adam, where they have the little samplers like at Costco, and you go around and you get that little sampler. This is good. And you sneak and go around again. And finally, until the demonstrator says, we got them right here in the freezer, Adam. You just ate a whole meal. But the thing is, so what I'm doing, I'm giving them a little sample. And they're going to think, wait a minute. This is what they're thinking now. Wait a minute. Why didn't my person, Adam's great and everything, but why didn't he tell me this? Then they're going to say, they're going to start asking more. So why don't you take this back to your loan officer and, just ask them the question. And by the way, if I can help you and if we can get started and move forward, yeah, we can. Maybe just notice what I'm just going to say here. Watch what I'm going to say. Perhaps if just this one time, because I know, and you should be thinking, all it takes is just one time for you to get in their system and get in there good.
Yeah.
Get in there good. You let them handle the breakup, because once they fall in love with what you do for them and the way you make them feel, it is over and they'll tell everyone else. But you have to make the effort to go that extra step. So here's what I want you to start thinking. I go first. That's your new mantra. I'm going to go first. I'm going to go first, giving the excellence. I'm going to go to first, adding the highest value. I'm going to go first. And when they ask a question and they say, here are the things that we can improve on, I'm going to give them some things that are so tough and so heavy and say, wow, this is deep. And I said, this is what we do. This is our norm. This is our norm. We do this for all of our clients. Excellence is our norm. That's a mic drop.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, the thing I love about this is we're not trying to trick anybody. We are raising our standards. We are getting what is important to them, what's important to them mostly is themselves, right? And making sure that they're taken care of and their clients are taken care of. And we can do that in such a way that we don't have to give them all this, stuff that's trickery and all these programs and we're chasing after horrible leads to get them one. It's like, can we take care of them? Can we take care of their client? Can we take care of their emotional needs and standards and just making them feel like gold? And if we can do that, we're going to win. And you're asking those good, deep questions. And man, when you talk about, I love that 12 inches from your heart, right? Wallet's closer to your, to your heart. I mean, that is so true. And so many loan officers just walk over that and they just complicate it so bad that we're not raising our standard for what we're going to do for our clients and our referral partners in our real estate agents. And they deserve that because they are giving you trust in their paycheck. And so I think that sometimes we, as loan officers, out there, we have to understand they're giving us trust in their paychecks.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and we have to honor that.
You know,
And
one of the things, Adam, I want to mention to the loan officers out there, for some of you who are new in the industry, and for some of you who've been in the industry for a very, very long time, Shakespeare said, "To thine own self be true." And I want you to ask yourself this question: am I in the business? You're in the business, you're a loan officer. But the most important part of the question is the part two: is the business in me? Is the business in me? What am I doing as a world-class loan officer? If there were the Olympics of the loan officers, what are you doing to win the gold? What are you doing that the person who is the silver or the bronze or the one who didn't even place, that they are not doing? What are you doing? Are you doing what everyone else is doing? What are you doing to stand out and to make a difference and to make a lasting impact? And I'm telling you, it's what you do today and the seeds you plant today that's going to last tomorrow. Have you changed your language? Have you changed your tone? Have you changed your style? Have you changed your approach? Is it the same thing? Even when you prepare to win for the game, do you automatically think, okay, here's another call that I have to make, or here's what's going to happen, that the outcome is already due? Because if you see that in your mind, that's what's going to materialize. That's what's going to manifest. So how do you prepare to win? That's critical. That's a question I want you all to ask. So a friend of mine said to me, he said, you know, Linda, because you have this, the psychology of selling, he said, I believe that you can sell in any industry. Yes, if qualified and on the product, I can. If now that I know the product, easiest sales lesson in the world is know your product. Know everything about your product and know everything about your customer. Boom, put those two together, you win. But taking it to the next level, I do the additional trainings and workshops and the boot camps to take my skill set to the next level. That's why, Adam, when you're having this forum, this medium for them to be able to learn from different experts and say, you know what, this was good what Adam served today. I'm going to take that off of the success buffet. I'm going to put that on my plate. This was good, but do you put it into practice? Yeah, they said it's 21 days to change a habit. No, they're wrong. It takes the brain anywhere from 88 to well over 288 days to establish a new habit, because the brain doesn't know if you're serious or not. So you're going to have to take that one commitment and start doing it. Are you going to do a different opening? What about your follow-up? Oh, when someone says no the first time, is that it? What your fortune is in your follow-up and your follow-through. Do you do that? So you have to go down your checklist and ask yourself, am I doing all the things that a champion would do? And if you're not, it's time to go back to boot camp.
I love it. That is pure fire. I mean, and you're right. I do go in different industries, and that's why I love someone like yourself coming on here that's not in the industry as well, and having such a high sales acumen, because you know Linda could come into the loan game and crush it, right? Because
I would.
Look,
they would change. Listen to me. Now, this is not cockiness. This is confidence under fire. That would come into it, Adam. Listen very carefully, and they would change it to the Linda loan industry. That's what they would change it for, because I come in to dominate. See, I would ask everyone out there listening, if I was to be trained under you and you're training me, the first thing I'm going to say to you, okay, I like order and structure and discipline. What are the process to your sales process? How many steps are there? So if one tells me, oh, there's 5, and the other one in the same office says, oh, we do it in 7 or 10 steps. So there's no concrete system from how do you get them at hello. So I want to know the steps of your sales process. That's how you duplicate it for champions. That's how plays are won, right? So if there are steps that are winning steps, that's how you leverage yourself. Now you have an entire office of superstars. So the first thing I want to know is the steps. So you telling me the steps, the psychology of the sales process. That's great. These are the steps. But here's where what I've learned to master. Not only the psychology of the sales process. Come closer. Come closer, Adam. Come in. Come in. I've also learned to master the consumer purchasing process, the way consumers buy. If your sales process is not in alignment the way they psychologically, mentally purchase, there will be no sales. Let me give you a good example. If, for example, let's say Adam is trying to sell me a bottle of water, and if he comes up to me and says, "Do you have $2?" Whoa, $2 for what? So he went to the close of finding out, do I have the money to pay for it? He didn't do the greeting. He didn't build rapport. He didn't do anything. So if your sales process, ladies and gentlemen, is out of order in a way the consumer purchases, there is no deal. There is no deal. Because they are moving to different parts of their brain. When someone starts asking for money or talking about money, do you know the pain, P-A-I-N, the pain center of the brain is stimulated? The higher the ticket, the higher the pain center is stimulated. That's why people go through this frenzy when they're buying a house. It's one of their biggest purchases. So the pain center is stimulated. So here's what's going to take place when you approach anyone and trying to persuade or sell them an opportunity. They are going to different parts of the brain, which is critical. And if your sales process is not aligned with the time when they're in the amygdala, to the midbrain, to the neocortex, all of that, the mammalian part of the brain, you will miss the sale, period. And that, Adam, is a whole workshop by itself.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. And it's something that, it can't be. It's got to be a conditioned reflex, right? It has to be a conditioned reflex where you're just doing it in the moment. Because I always use a boxing analogy, right? The guy sitting at the bar going, "Oh, I would have hit this guy," and it's like, no, he would have hit you 8 times the time you thought that. In the sales process, same way. If you have to be fluid with it, right? It has to come, because all of a sudden, oh, well, I need to ask him this question. It's like, well, that conversation is awkward. Now it's kind of like the person that gets a joke, like 5 minutes later, and it's like, yeah, that conversation's already gone, right? So we have to continuously work on these skill sets and not just be something we kind of know. But to get a lot of those skill sets, you can go to Linda. I know she's got a great sales process, as you know already. If you can't tell by now, she knows her, well, bleep, then bleep, right? Then you're missing a boat. Linda, I know you got an amazing system, process, all that stuff. How does someone get in touch with you?
There's several ways that they can get in touch with me. And first of all, I'm going to give everyone my website. Let me give you my website. It's Linda Clemens, and that's Clemens with 1 M. So it's Linda, L-I-N-D-A, Clemens, CLEMONS.com. You can go to my website. You can find out a little bit more about me, my background. If you want to say, Linda, we already know enough about you right now. We love you. We know that you're a world-class nonverbal communications expert. We know you're a sales expert. Linda, we love you now. We got to have it now. You can go to Linda Clemens U, just the letter U, like university, LindaClemensU.com, but you can also get it from my website as well. So you can go right to Linda Clemens U, wonderful course there that you could take, have access to it all year round, as long as you want, all year round. And what's so nice, are in bite-sized nuggets where I break down different steps of the sales process. So you can look at that and says, you know what, that's good. I needed that. I'm missing that part. So you got Linda Clemens U, or you can go to lindaclemens.com and go right to Linda Clemens U to learn more. So I'm excited. And let me tell you one last thing. Remember this, always remember this. Always remember that whatever you plant into someone's life, the value, it will come back to you. It'll come back to you, trust me. You do good, you help someone, you are their answer. They will spread the word as just the opposite. When things go bad, they'll spread it even faster. So you constantly plant the right seeds. Follow up is critical. Adding that value. When you add value and they're attached to that value that you bring, and that value is important in their life, price and time is not an issue. They'll move heaven and earth to do business with you. And that's what you want.
I love it. I love it. This was amazing. Linda, thank you so much for coming on here. I know you have a lot going on. You're not busy. You're just wildly productive because you have your days just mapped out, getting to it, getting after it, high energy, high focus. And I tell you what, thank you so much for lending us some focus on Genius Loan Officer and absolutely bringing the heat. So Linda, thank you so much and have an amazing rest of the day.
Thank you.
You know the drill. Limited risks equals limited income.